It was September 1973. Pat, born in Ireland, had emigrated to the U.S. as a young man, served in WW2, and after a stellar advertising career, had retired in 1967 as CEO and no doubt as an important shareholder in the major U.S. advertising agency, BBD. Its creative director was Peter Mayle of Ayear. In Province fame, Pat and Britta were serious Catholics. Chief Awolowo in 1969. Credit: Universal Photo. Indeed, central to the house party was an engaging Irish bishop who was happy to acknowledge that he had joined Mussolini's fascist party in the 30s when studying in Rome. We all did. You got reduced fares on the trains and they did start running on time, and sported a fetching purple maillot de bain at the swimming pool. There was an exquisite chapel in a grotto at which we engaged in some morning devotions before getting into the gin. Pat and his wife Britta were keen to get to heaven. This religiosity had caused Judy and me to believe that we would not be accommodated together. Not so. We enjoyed a sumptuous suite for a couple of days. And then, we were asked to cede it to Chief Awolowo of Nigeria. He was new to me, but obviously not to Pat. How did he know him? I'd done some work for him in Nigeria. Awolowo was a most erudite and charming fellow, big, generous, cautious, jolly and bright. Faced with an election that could spiral into violence, some in the popular, Hausa-language film industry known as Kannywood shot a music video appealing to the country for peace. Credit: act genuinely charming. Authentic, as they say now. Awolowo was the leader of the Yorubas, one of the three key tribes in Nigeria. He had been educated in England and had become the leader of the opposition before 1960 independence. Jailing followed, but come the 1967–70 Biafra Civil War he was made finance minister. And here we were, after the war, with civilian government set to return in due course, in the south of France. Who knows if Pat was CIA? CIA reports of 1970 say Awolowo was aging and has far too many enemies to be considered a likely contender for leadership of an eventual civilian government. Awolowo was 64 in 1973 when I met him at Pat and Britta Dolan's villa. 5 years later, and again in 1984, he stood for the presidency. Awolowo lost on both occasions. Nicholas Whitlam and bride Judith after their wedding in London in 1973, there is little doubt who the CIA favored in the 1960s, 70s and indeed 1980s. Who do they favor this time? And do the Chinese prefer someone else?